Dionisio at the plate. He's 0 for 2 today. Swakowski, the big right-hander, lets it go. It's right down Broadway. Dionisio lets it fly, and it's raining now.
It's time for Rain Delay Theater with Jeremy Dionisio and Jack Swakowski.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rain Delay Theater, the podcast where two bums talk about other bums at baseball games. I'm Jack Swakowski.
And I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
And we are here to bring you a recap of the Washington Nationals versus Chicago Cubs game that was played at Wrigley Field on September 5th of 2025. So it's a little later than we usually record these game episodes, but we've been going to a lot of games lately, so we just haven't had a lot of time. We also went to two Rays games this week, which we'll be recapping, in some future episodes here. So yeah, Jeremy, a lot of action on the podcast, but today we did Nats Cubs.
Yeah, we trying to catch up from that glut during the middle of summer. I think we're gonna come. I don't know if we did an over/under on games this year, but I think we did. So trying to make up for lost time, but I don't think we're gonna catch our number from last year. But we're making a run for it here in September. So Nats Cubs. I forgot how many times we saw the Nats. We've seen the Nats more than I remember. I think we saw them twice last year, and we did both for the podcast.
I think so, and we must have seen them the year before too, because that would have been the first year of Nats Pud. Nats Pud was a two-year player. Thank God he wasn't here this year. Probably in school.
Spoiler alert, I guess on that, but he was not here this year. Yeah.
No. So sorry to listeners who might be disappointed about that, but it was September 5th, so it was one of the first weeks of school. So it was a big difference when we got in the park. There were no kids graphing. Even when we sat down, there were no kids present. It was 99. The stadium was full of 99% adults, which especially for graphing was really refreshing because we've talked about it on the podcast, but the graphing is kind of blown up this year, and there's just been a ton of kids this year, which has made it harder to graph. So this was, it had potential to bear fruit because we didn't have that obstacle in our way.
Yeah, for sure. And we kind of raced in the gates just like we normally do. The Nats pitchers were on the field warming up, and I don't know if Mitchell Parker realized this when we came in through the gates, but he was like standing around with some other pitchers, and he had a ball in his hand, and he just pretty much like wheeled back and like fired a ball into the stands, like just into like the empty seats, like the terrace reserved. I think he threw it in about like the 15th row of the terrace reserved.
Yeah, there was absolutely nobody around, and we were the only ones who saw it, so nobody went to go get the ball. Jeremy, you kept like looking back at that spot, being like, I wonder if I should go back and get that ball that he threw. Ultimately, we never did, but yeah, I don't know what he was doing. I think he was just messing around, but it was strange.
I think he was trying to hit like a sign or like the front side of the upper deck or something. Like maybe like he was just messing around with another pitcher, but yeah, he just fires this ball into the stands, which was odd. It was weird. Just another spoiler. Like I would go on to get. We both got him right. Mitchell Parker.
Yes, we did. We both got Parker.
So he signed. He did some more drills and whatnot, and then he ended up signing for us. But after he signed, I was like, maybe it would have been cool to have that ball to go with the signature. But at that point, I assumed someone had gotten it, but I wasn't. I still wasn't 100% sure.
Same. I mean, the people who went to sit down there probably were just like, "What's this ball doing here?" Mackenzie Gore signed for us too, right around the same. We might have got Gore before we got Parker, but Gore was a really good one because he's probably one of their biggest name players. I mean, his name was thrown around at the trade deadline. I think the asking price was probably way too high, but it was good to get him. You'd gotten him before, Jeremy, but I never had, so I was pretty happy to knock that one off.
Yeah, and I did re-up on him, so that was good. I think like that's the kind of guy you would get multiple times, but yeah, so that was good. I think there was some pitchers started going in. I'm trying to remember. I think they ended up taking BP, didn't they? Weren't they kind of like late to start?
They did, and I mean, I think we even saw James Wood taking BP. But yes, that being said, none of them were signing, and there wasn't a ton of action out in the outfield. I had re-upped on a lot of the coaches. We had both re-upped. You know who we called for was Bonus. Bonus didn't sign. He was in the outfield. We had both brought a Ricky Gutierrez card, even though we got him last year. So we were able to get him over when he came out. Jeremy, you had kind of a funny interaction with him.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask if you wanted to talk about this one, but yeah, it was. I called him over and I said, "Hey, Ricky, do you got time for one?" And then he came over and he like took my book. He actually, sometimes players will just like lean over and like I'll hold my book and they'll sign for me. Sometimes the guys actually take the book, and so Ricky Gutierrez took the book, and then I had 2 cards for him. So I figured like so then he starts signing. So I said like, yeah, I got 2 for you after I said I got 1 for you. But I figured once he took the book, it was kind of like all bets were off, really.
Yeah, it was your very own GTV moment, Jeremy.
Yeah,
GTV
exactly.
reality. I've never gotten 2 from a guy in one sitting. Usually, I only bring 1 card for somebody. So that's not a threshold I've crossed yet. But having been doing this for a while now, I'm not opposed to it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I got so many cards here, so like it sometimes I try to pick one. But sometimes it's like I have a tough time picking just one. And like the Gutierrez one, I got 2 because I had this like weird Cubs card of his. Like I'll always opt to get a guy who was on the Cubs card.
Yeah.
So I had this weird one of him, and the card was kind of goofy, and I kind of didn't want it to be the only one I got signed by him. So I had I think it was a Padres card. It might have actually been his rookie card too. But I had him sign that one, and I think I pointed to the Cubs one first. But yeah, the 2 helped. Like sometimes you'll do that if it's like he's on 2 different teams, or if there's like a rookie card and like a cool card that isn't his rookie card. Like those are the kind of times where I will do like multiples. But
For sure.
But yeah, so
But yeah, it was good to
ahead.
get him. He's got kind of a neat signature too, so I was happy to get him again.
Yeah, actually, I should pull up I should grab my autographs here. So that was that was good. But yeah, like you said, Jack, there really wasn't much going on like pregame.
No.
So we were kind of just lingering around the outfield and then maybe in the infield trying to get some guys. And so I remember we went by home plate. Because that's where we saw Darnell Coles coming into the dugout, and we kind of called his name, and he kind of gave this like funny salute to us.
Yep.
More on him later. So this game was on, for some reason, this game was covered by Apple TV. Number one, why are any games on Apple TV? Because their broadcast sucks.
Yes.
But I did like look up like the Apple TV analysts, and I brought like all of them, or as many as I had. And one of the guys who is in that group is Xavier Scruggs. He's just like a guy, like he played in the major leagues. I'm not even sure how much. Like couldn't be more. Like I don't think he played 2 full seasons. But I think he's been on. Jack, do you know? Has he been on ESPN? Like, is he on Baseball Tonight sometimes, or was he on?
He
at
was
some
not
point?
on my radar at all until, as like a broadcaster, until a week ago. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I think like I was seeing him. I want to say I saw him on like Baseball Tonight or something, and I was like, how did this guy end up? Yeah, he was on. Yeah, he's been on ESPN. So I was kind of like, how is this guy like, a guy, because he was not a prominent baseball player. But so anyway, he does Apple TV games, and I saw a guy right by the Nationals dugout, and he was talking to James Wood, and I'm like, I think that's Xavier Scruggs, but he was wearing like casual clothes, but then also like the whole Apple TV broadcast is all like very casual as well too. So like it's just all goofy. So I'm like, he's probably not wearing clothes that an announcer would wear, but it's Apple TV, so whatever. So like I asked you about it too, and I was like, I could use a little help here. Like, like, do you think that's Scruggs? And like, you were fairly, you felt like, like.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at the guy's picture and, same haircut, same, like he even had facial hair. Like he looked basically the same. I mean, if it wasn't Xavier Scruggs, it was definitely his doppelganger.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like it was like reasonable. There was reasonable doubt that it was him, or reasonable belief that it was him, I guess. And
Yeah.
So I went over there and I called for him. So I get behind the dugout and like, I guess I was far enough away that you couldn't hear the interaction. But so I probably could have actually like kind of played it off like he said no or something. But like I went over and I go like, hey Xavier, I'm like Xavier, and the guy turns around and looks at me as if it's Xavier Scruggs, and I go like, I'm like, do you got time to sign? And I'm like, I know it's kind of because he was like in the middle of the dugout, so there wasn't really a clear way to get him. So I think I even said like, hey man, I don't know if there's some way, but could you sign for me? And he looks around and he points to himself and he goes like, me? Are you talking to me? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm not a player. And I'm like, you're not? And I'm like, you're not Scruggs? Is what I said. And he goes like, no. Or he didn't even say no. He just like kind of shook his head. And then like there was a security guard next to him, and like he's kind of said something to him. I feel like they kind of like laughed or something. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I just like walked away. And then there was some kid who was graphing. I think the same kid who we even saw today. He's like a kid, but he's a little older than Josh and his cronies. But he asked me, he's like, who was that? And I'm like, well, I thought it was Xavier Scruggs. And he's like, he just kind of like shrugged. And so then I went over to you and I was like, yeah, I guess that's not him. And it was just weird. I take exception. And then I think someone said he's a reporter or something. But
okay.
I take exception with the fact that he turned around and looked at me as if his name was Xavier. Like maybe he was Xavier Gruggs or something. Like I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did you turn around and look at me and make me think that it was your name? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because you could have been yelling Xavier at anybody. Like, he didn't have to turn around.
Yeah. It's like he turned around as if it was him. I just Googled him, Jack, just to see if he was on ESPN. And I'm looking at him now, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe it wasn't him. Because Xavier Scruggs' face looks a little, like, kind of beefier a little bit. Like, a little, like, more, like, I don't know. A little, like, yeah, like, meteor. I don't know. This guy he was a little, like, thicker, and I feel like the guy who I saw was maybe a little more slender. But
sure. Well,
I don't know.
You know, Jeremy, you shot your shot, and it didn't necessarily work out, but I feel like you got to do it, you know?
Yeah, it was, I didn't feel too much shame about that one. Yeah. I was just more so just like, why did he make it sound like, why did he respond so affirmatively to being called that? But anyway, so I digress. But yeah.
It was, well, I guess we kind of redeemed ourselves because Darnell Coles was out there, and he drifted towards the outfield, like beyond the tarp, to talk to a lady that, you know, seemed like he knew. And so we went over to him, and, I mean, he saw us coming over, and he was like, you know, I think we maybe even asked him, and he's like, yeah, just give me a second, guys. So he finished up his conversation with the lady, and then he almost like kind of gestured to us, like, all right, come on over here. So we went under the net, and we got him again, and we had both gotten him before, but you know, I got him on an 86 card, I think, which is cool because I don't think I have any of those signed, and that's the year I was born. But Jeremy, what a complete gentleman. You know, he's a super nice guy.
yeah, he was pretty nice. He was talking to a friend or somebody. But yeah, it was funny because I had a card of him that like it kind of doesn't look like him, and I remembered having some hesitation of getting him on the card, and then, but I had forgotten about that even when I like put it in my bag and or in my book, and when I was going to get him, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot, and then I'm like, well, I guess I'll find out if it's him or not if he refuses to sign it, and he signed it, so I guess it is him. It's just a weird picture.
Sure, yeah, you'd think he would have said like, "Oh, what a horrible picture," but like that Rockies manager, you know. Yeah,
Warren is it Warren Schaefer?
Warren Schaefer. I forgot his name until you reminded me. So yeah,
I was just thinking, I saw like a picture of that card like in my like photo reel of all my autographs, and I was
Yeah.
remembering that one. It's pretty ridiculous.
But yeah, it was nice to at least have a little success pregame. So yeah, we got 3 guys, and I think that was it. One thing that did suck though was like, there was one last chance to get everybody as BP ended and everybody was coming in, and so right as BP was ending, these 4 guys wanted to get a picture taken. And they're like, hey, like they try to give me one of the guys tries to give me his phone. And he's like, hey, can you take our picture? And I hesitated because
he turned around to like all of us, and he's like, hey, can someone take our picture? And like, you were closest to him, and I was just like averted my eyes.
Yeah, and I was just like you said, I was the closest one, and like kind of had to take the bullet. And I just sort of hemmed and hawed, and I was like, and he's like, oh, well, if you're not comfortable, it's okay. Like, if you're not comfortable doing it. And it was a weird way to phrase it, because it's like, why would I be uncomfortable to, like, take a picture of somebody? I mean, I guess, like, people worry about dropping somebody else's phone or something like that, but whatever. But I just, like, I felt bad, but also it's like, dude, you picked the absolute worst time to ask me. And so eventually I just said, no, it's not that. It's just all the guys are coming in. And then one of his buddies said to him, yeah, it's just the guys are coming in right now. So it was just like, we knew it wasn't going to be good. Like, not a lot of guys were signing anyway, but that didn't help. But anyway, they all went in, and then I ended up taking a picture. So it was just like bad timing, I guess.
Yeah, I was trying to remember who was on the field, like who we were trying to get at that moment. It would have been like the last group of BP, but yeah. It's like, it was funny though. Like if you're not comfortable with it, I mean, it was. I don't think he was like fucking with you by saying that. He was like actually being sincere, but I'm like,
he was.
It's like I'm not comfortable taking a picture of 4 men. I'm sorry. It's just not.
No, I know, man. I felt bad for the guy when he said that, because he was trying to be nice about it and like bow out gracefully, and I just I didn't want to say no. It's like, fine, I'll take anybody's picture as long as it's not during the game. But it was just a silly situation.
Yeah, definitely.
But that was it though for pregame graphing. After that we both got food. So I ended up getting nachos. I guess for the last time this season now, because I didn't get them when we went to today's game, which we'll record about later. But anyway, I got the nachos, and I've had a lot of drama at this stand in the past. So today it was 2 guys working. An older guy with a beard who usually recognizes my Beloit Skycarp cap, which is pretty cool. And then he has like a younger guy. It seems like that's the model they go with for those nacho stands. It's like the nacho maker and his apprentice. Like, that's what it was like last year with my buddy, and now it's this year again, same deal. But anyway, I got the apprentice, and he puts 2 scoops of cheese on, but the problem, 2 ladles full of it. The problem with that though is when they put that cheese on, the way the chips are sometimes situated in there, like, it'll only get on the top of the chips and none of it'll drift to the bottom. So once you eat those top ones, there's just no cheese left. So he does 2 ladles. He puts some jalapenos in it. He brings it over. And, I say to him, hey, could I get just a little bit more cheese? And he goes, well, I already put like 2 scoops in it. And I go, well, yeah, but could I have a little bit more though? And so, he begrudgingly or grudgingly just like put one more scoop on. But I was kind of like, hey, man, like, the customer is always right here. Like, if I want a little bit more cheese, like, why are you pushing back on me? This is going to cost me almost $20 with this and the soda. Like, what is one more ladle full of cheese? But I think, like, they sell cheese cups for $3. But anyway, it kind of ticked me off. So maybe, subconsciously that's why I didn't get nachos again today. But, it wasn't not good customer service, in my opinion.
My friend, this is not good service. That's from the Jerky Boys.
Okay.
But yeah, like, I mean, it ain't his cheese, It's like, it's not like you're taking his cheese. Like, why is he beholden to the Ricketts family for giving their cheese away? So yeah, it was kind of silly. I will say too, the email that I sent them when they responded to me, they're like, usually when that happens, the best thing to do is just like ask for more cheese when you're there. And so like that's what I did, and like the guy gave me grief about it. Oh, like from the original time. Right?
Yeah, from the original time I didn't get enough cheese. So I did what they told me to do, and they still gave me shit about it.
I didn't remember that. That even that is kind of silly. It's like, or like even like I guess like saying like oh, like I mean, I don't know if that's exactly how they worded it, but like I feel like there's subtleties to that. Like I would say like maybe like next time just ask them and they'll be happy to do it or something. Like it's almost like they're saying like you'd handled it the wrong way. Like they were telling you handled it the wrong way or something. But
yes, they put the blame on me for it. Absolutely, man. I write a freaking email to Tom@Cubs.com. You know.
Yeah. Get Regina on the phone or whatever her secretary's name was. But if we made shirts, if we made like merch for this podcast, we would have to have like a Jack Nachos shirt for sure.
Yes.
Like
yes.
I don't know what exactly it would be, but let's like. But yeah, that's a running theme through this podcast, which I love. So.
100%, man. What did you get, by the way? I can't remember.
Well, so I got an Italian sausage, and there's a part 2 to this that'll happen in the Rays episode. But I was disappointed in my Italian sausage because they put it in a regular hot dog bun, and it's like you can't put an Italian sausage in a regular hot dog. But they have like sausage buns that are like a little bit bigger. Like if you're gonna do that, like if you're gonna put it in a regular bun, at least put it in that. But they put in this regular hot dog bun, and I got hot and sweet peppers, and it just was like, impossible to eat because there was just not enough room. I eventually had to like fist it basically, and then shovel it in my mouth, and like I think we had split up, and I had inhaled it already by the time you got back with the nachos, so like, you know, it was not good.
No, oh yeah, man, I remember that because I got back to my seat and I was like, "Did you get food already?" And then you were like, "Yeah, I did." So that was pretty funny. But yeah, the game started. We had these two guys in front of us, Jeremy, and they were just like lunkheads. There were a couple guys. One guy had like a big beer bat, and the other guy had a beer. And again, like I've never been a big like person for day drinking, but it's like each of these guys at least had about 3 beers, and it's like, what are they gonna do when they get home from this game? Just go to sleep? So
it was
that's
a
crazy
Friday
to me.
afternoon. Yeah, it was a Friday
It
afternoon.
was.
Yeah.
I mean, so I guess it's the weekend, but like, you know, whatever. Anyway, They were just so first of all, they were just too excited about like everything that was happening. They got really into every hit that the Cubs got, and like, you know, I get being excited that your team is winning, but they were cheering like it was a playoff game and not like it was one of 162 games versus the Nationals, who are garbage.
Yeah. I was gonna say, especially against the Nationals. Like if it was a Cubs Brewers game or Cubs Cardinals game in like July, you know, okay, fair, so be it. But like the Nats, like you should, as a Cubs fan, I'm not that excited when the Cubs hit like a 3-run homer against the Nats because I'm like, I expect them to do that. Right.
Yeah. So it was just I think that the time and the place was just wrong for that those types of histrionics. But then one of the guys, he was sitting on the edge of his seat, like literally, you know, like, oh, you know, man, like this movie had me on the edge of my seat. Like this guy was literally sitting on the edge of his seat. And when somebody does that, I mean, Jeremy, you even commented like the stadium is not designed for people to sit that way. So when this guy was doing that, like the effect of it was that his head was completely blocking my view of home plate, which was a freaking pain in the ass because then I had to like, you know, juke and jive around him to try to see the game, like for most of the game.
Yeah, it's annoying, and it's like I think we've both dealt with kids who've done this in recent games, but like, and you can kind of work around it when it's a kid, but like an adult is just like impossible to do, and so then you have to sit on the edge of your seat, and then it's like you almost like wish someone behind you would say like, hey man, could you sit down, because then I'd be like, tell this guy to do that because I'm only up here because of this guy. But yeah, certainly annoying. They were also doing, just to go back to the whole 3-run homer thing, these and them being like very boisterous and like overexcited. They were yelling like when like someone would fly out. Like I think Pete Crow Armstrong flew out to right field or something, and they yelled like they thought it was a homer, and it went about 300 feet or something. But then when the Cubs actually did hit a homer, Dansby Swanson hit a 3-run homer in the first inning, and and then Reese McGuire hit a solo shot in the second. There was the two guys. There was a big guy and a smaller guy. The big guy, of course, was sitting right in front of us. And when they would hit a home run, he would stand up and he would like wiggle his ass. Basically, he would just like, he did this little like home run dance where he was basically just like swiveling his hips and wiggling his butt. And it was just like, and we were standing right behind it. And I think I might have said to you something like, this almost makes you wish that the Cubs didn't hit a home run or something. Or something like that.
Well, Jeremy, one thing you said was, you were like, we're not going to see a home run trot today.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that was the other thing. They stood up for every single thing. And it's like, it's just very frustrating because it's like you're trying to relax and enjoy the game. You don't want to have to stand up for every single hit. But we just couldn't see anything. So that was annoying. At some point they left. And like I said, okay, so whatever. So at some point they left. And like the big guy comes back. And he's got a pizza and a burger in his hands. He's got like the big box, the box of pizza, and then like a burger like on top of it. And I feel like he was holding it all with one hand too. Maybe he had a beer in his other hand. But it was a funny spectacle to see. I think ultimately he ended up giving that burger to the friend, and I think maybe the friend got some, like, I don't know, but like it was just funny. I'm like, man, this guy's gonna take down both of these in one sitting.
I know, man. It would have made for a better story,
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's like some newspaperman said, when the legend is better than the fact, print the legend. But we'll be honest, and he did not have both, but it would have been funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so those guys were annoying. And then Jeremy, just kind of out of nowhere, like your world got turned upside down.
Yeah.
Like around the 6th or the 7th inning, it was bad. I don't know how I didn't get any of the collateral damage on this, but like it was bad, dude.
I'm trying to figure out where it was. I don't even know if anything actually happened on the play, but there was this couple, this like younger couple behind us, and then like 2 seats over, and the girl was like coming back with food, and I think she maybe had like 2 drinks or something, and I see her kind of like struggling to like kind of come up the stairs and then go cut into the row behind me, and then all of a sudden I just feel like a splash, and I'm like what the hell is this? And like and then like it was like a splash, and then like another splash, like one splash on my arm and then another splash on my back, and she fucking like spilled soda on me, and like it was not a small amount, like it was a fairly significant amount, not like the whole cup or half of the cup, but it was 2 big like whooshes, like the soda was filled up really high, and maybe that was for her boyfriend or something, and she didn't drink it down. But like, it was it was 2 substantial spills, and I was like, what the hell? And I turn around, and I'm like, damn it! Like I got soda all over me, and the guys, there were 2 nerdy guys behind me, and they didn't even like react at all. Like they didn't even be like, oh, that sucks, man, or like, oh, sorry. No. Like they just they were like in the middle of a conversation, didn't react at all, which I also was annoyed by, even though they had nothing to do with it. But the other thing that annoyed me is that it was this was the first time I was wearing this t-shirt. It was,
dude.
I talked about the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers game I went to, and they had this alternate logo, the Wisconsin frozen pizzas. So I bought a shirt because it had the logo on it, which is really cool. And it was the first time I was wearing it, and I was actually like, enjoy, like it would actually fit me really well. Like I'm like, oh, this is actually a good shirt. Like I'm glad I got this. Like I almost didn't get it. I'm glad I got it. It fits well, whatever. And like she fucking spills like soda on it. The first day I get it, and there just no acknowledgement whatsoever. Like she was completely oblivious that she spilled the soda on me. And so then it's like, well, oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Jack.
Well, I was going to say it was bullshit, Jeremy. It was so bad that, like, you turned around and I saw that your back was all full of soda. So, like, I took a napkin and, like, wiped some of it off you. Because it was, you were, like, legitimately got sprayed, man. And you asked me, you're like, how bad is it? I was like, I mean, it's not terrible, but, like, you definitely have a lot on you.
Yeah, I know. And you said, do you want me to get some of that for you? You want me to help you out? And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I guess so. And like, I didn't want you to pat my back with a napkin, but like it was better to do that than to just let it sit. So then, and I feel like we were a spectacle at this point because I'm halfway turned around in my seat. You're fucking wiping my back with a napkin, and these two idiots are sitting there never acknowledging it whatsoever. It's like, don't you see what you did? Like, don't you see what's going on here? Like, I don't understand. And then these two idiots who were next to them, who kind of looked like her boyfriend, and I think might have been four of them. None of you are saying anything in this situation. Like, what the hell's going on here? So the whole thing was fucking annoying, and like, for all those reasons. And it's just like something like, what do you say? Do you say like, hey, you spilled on me? Like, I didn't want, like, what was she gonna do? Like, pay for the dry cleaning? It's like, like, I don't know what, there was nothing she could have done, but so that at the very least, just acknowledge it and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, do you want me some napkins or something? I would have said like, no, but it's like, at least something. Jesus.
Yeah, it was bad, man. And so I think eventually when we got up to walk down to the seats we go to right before we graph when the game ends, you were just like, yeah, fuck that whole section.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was probably some other people that were annoying that we don't remember at this point, but like, it was, the whole thing was annoying. And it's like, honestly, Jack, we've had a couple fuck this whole section a couple times now in our last couple games. I feel at least
the Braves one was bad too.
Yeah, exactly. So like at Wrigley, like the last couple games we've been to, at the White Sox, there's not enough people around in the park to be sitting around you. So you know, it's harder there. But yeah, it's just the last couple games we've just been around some real doozies.
It's been bad. But yeah, the game ended. The game itself was kind of a dog. Like, Jake Irvin started for the Nats, and he just had a terrible outing, and the game never really felt close. But whatever. The Cubbies ended up winning. So we got outside to graph. I don't recall there being that many people there, but Jeremy, it was not great overall.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, I think like the Nats coaching staff can really make you feel like you had a good day of graphing.
Yep.
But yeah, when you boil it down, we didn't really have too much success with players. I don't remember I think a couple of players had already come out at this point, but I recognized Robert Hassel, or maybe someone else even recognized him.
I think, Jeremy, I might have been the guy that made him originally.
Okay.
But yeah. I was just like, yeah, is that Hassel? And I didn't even have a card for him. And the reason I recognized him was just because, like, I saw his headshot a couple times. So, but he's a pedigree guy. So you had a card for him, and you got him.
Yeah, I called for him. He came over and he stopped and he signed. I think he was even with somebody too, and so it was kind of cool that he signed. And I'm sure he's a guy who was just dogged in the minor leagues. I think at every level he's been at. So it's cool that he stopped and signed. I was like, he was signing for a couple people next to me, and so I was just figured like I'd say something. So like, I had seen in the past like that Pete Crow Armstrong was friends with Robert Hassel. He called him Bob too, which is that was kind of my main thing. I'm like, should I call him Bob or should I call him Robert? And so he was signing for somebody, and I saw an opening, so I go like, hey, are you gonna see PCA on this trip? And he's like, oh yeah, that's my boy. He's like, I'm so proud of him, man. He's doing great stuff.
Yep.
So proud of him. And like, I didn't really know what to say to that, so like I just kind of like said like, I'm like, you're next, man. And he's like, I don't even know if he said thanks, but he just like walked away. But yeah, maybe he said thanks or something. But it was just a weird way to phrase that, like but it was all I could grasp for at that moment.
Yeah, and I think he liked your Trey Lipscomb card too.
Yeah, he when he was signing, he's like, oh, you got Lipscomb, which is pretty cool too. I don't know, I think Lipscomb might have been, I don't know if he was part of that same circuit, like the Team USA circuit, but yeah, I think he was in the minors, but I had him anyway, and so like, yeah, Hassel. I was wondering if Hassel thought maybe they called him up and he didn't hear about it or something.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so that was also cool.
Yeah, he was nice. Another guy that was really nice and who was funny last year, but I don't think either of us had a card for him. Maybe you did, Jeremy, but
I did,
was Nasim Nunez. So last year, folks, if you will recall, maybe it was me called for Darren Baker. And Nasim Nunez just looked at us and like, gave us the side eye and walked on the bus. So he's got charisma. But yeah, he came out, and we called for him, and he came right over, and like he almost seemed excited to sign. Jeremy, I couldn't quite make out what he said, but he saw our books, and he was like, "Oh, you guys got cards?" Is that what he said? Do you recall that?
Oh man, I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's what he said, man. Like, he looked at our books, he saw me, he's like, "Oh, you guys got cards?" And so it was kind of cool. Like, he seemed excited to see the book. And anyway, he signed. So that was a nice loose end to tie up from last year. He was cool. And yeah, Jeremy, you got him last year, right?
Yeah, I went back on Getaway Day. I think it was at some point. Yeah, like it was Getaway Day of that series. I think we did the first 2 games, and I ended up getting him. I had his card last year, but like it was an unfortunate mistaken identity. Darren Baker's I think no longer on the team, so that helps. But yeah, he was really nice. It was funny last year. I actually can't forget that look that he gave us.
I know, man.
Yeah, it's funny. So yeah, it's cool, and he had just come off like a 2 home run game, so
Yep.
happy for his success for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. And well, so we got another umpire. I guess we should say that.
Yeah, this guy had been on my radar for a while, but Phil Cuzzy.
Yep.
Like, so listeners, I don't know if you know Phil Cuzzy. Go ahead and Google him or whatever. But like, or before you Google him, think about like umpires' faces that you know. And it's like Phil Cuzzy is like a guy who just like I just knew his face. I just knew like what he looked like. I forgot his name too. I knew it was like an Italian name, but there's like Dan Iasonia and like there's a bunch like I can't pull the other ones right now, but there's a lot of like there's oddly Vic Carpazza. There's an odd amount of like Italian umpires. And I was like couldn't remember exactly what his name was. I remembered it but forgot it and remembered it and forgot. But like I remember just the look of this guy, and he just has like I don't know, he has like a classic look. Like he looks like an umpire, but he also could look like a tough guy, like a bodyguard guy or a tough guy in like an old mobster movie or something.
Yeah, I mean he's got like kind of a striking face, so like he definitely looks like he'd be like cast in something like that by Central Casting.
Yeah, for sure, almost like a lighter version of Abe Vigoda or something maybe, but
sure, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he's got that look to him, and I was like, okay, this is like and Jack and I discuss umpires, what umpires we might want to get, and like I think we've thrown around different names or whatever. Maybe CB Buckner might be on that list, but for me, Phil Cuzzy was like the next guy that I wanted on that list, and so I saw that he was doing the game, so I'm like, you know what, this might be the day. I might call for him, and he came out. And the umps came out, and I called for him, and like at first he didn't hear me. I think I called for him 3 times, so I'm like, "Hey Phil," and like he didn't hear anything. I'm like, "Phil," and then like he maybe did a half turn, and I'm like, "Phil, you got time to sign?" And then he turned around and he looked at us, kind of like, "Me? You want me?" Yep. And we're like, "Yeah," and like so he came over, and he started signing for us, and like I was feeling self-conscious about it, so like I for some reason I felt compelled. I said like, yeah, we've gotten Laz over here and some other guys, and he goes like, oh oh yeah, or something. It's like, yeah, not really much of a reaction, but like I don't know, Jack, I felt like the need to kind of like legitimize that we did want him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, and he was nice too. And Jeremy, you got him on a SIG card, right?
Yeah, I got him on like this, one of those like wood grain SIG cards, the same kind I got Dallas Clark on a couple years ago. But yeah, so I got him on that, and then he signed for me, and I saw him signing, and like the 2 times we've gotten umpires, I think they put their number down, their umpire number, so that's cool. So I'm like, okay, that's de rigueur for like umpires. But then he started putting the date on there, and it was like 8/29. And then I saw 25, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's interesting. He's putting the date down. That's cool, I guess, just so like I know what date I got him. But then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, wait a second, it's September. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, so like my timeline, my calendar's off a little bit. But I was like, wait a second, it's September. So September 5th, and then I'm like, so then I saw him signing your scorecard, right?
Yep. Yeah. He signed mine. Yeah, with his number, but then the same date, 8/29/25. And I was just like, that's just a week ago. That's weird. Why? And so after he finishes signing mine, he goes, you know what date that is, right? And then he kind of like just looks at me, and then he almost, I want to think that he winked, Jeremy, but I don't know. But he asked me, and I was just kind of nonplussed, and I just didn't give him an answer, and I just kind of like smiled and nodded. And then, you didn't say anything either, because I think both of us were just confused. And then he smiled, and like I said, I'd like to think that he winked, and he turned around and, walked to the Uber Black. But Jeremy, we Googled it, and it turns out that it was his 70th birthday. So he ended up being the first umpire to umpire a game at age 70, which is pretty significant.
Yeah, it's surprising and significant and cool. And I'm glad that you recounted that part of the story, because I was freaking out about it. Not freaking out, but I was having like a bit of a like crisis about it, because I'm like, did we leave him hanging on that? Like, because like he said that, and then like he said it. I feel like he said it to both of us. I would love to just say that he said it to you and then put it all on you, put it all on you. But like, I felt like he said it to both of us, and like, I feel like, in replaying it in my head, I feel like we both like were looking at each other like wide-eyed, just kind of like like just like,
yep.
And then he just walked away. So like,
Yeah.
I also would like to think that he like winked or whatever, but like we just didn't have anything we didn't even say like, no, what is that? Like,
I know, man. We could have just asked for clarification, but also like, I'm kind of glad we didn't, because if we were fans enough of him to call him over, we should have like known that it was his 70th birthday and that they had that significant milestone.
I guess so. But I think that was definitely his rationale. Like, he's like, oh, these guys really want me. Like, I'll go ahead and drop, the 70th birthday thing on the 70-year-old thing. And then when we didn't know that, he must have been further perplexed.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy,
yeah.
I think, like, in our defense, like, we do read a lot of baseball news, and, like, I visit the baseball subreddit every single day, pretty much, and, like, I didn't see anything about that.
No, not at all. So we had to Google it. I think we Googled his name and then that date, and it showed that it was his birthday, and then it said, like, there was an article saying, like, he's the first umpire to umpire in his 70s.
Yep.
So, like, and then we were in disbelief about that, because we definitely assumed Joe West, but not even Joe West, Jack, but like some of those older guys too. There was that white-haired guy from like the 70s, maybe even 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, there's Bruce Fleming. Like, Bruce Fleming wasn't 70 years old. Like, so it's kind of crazy to think about. And then I ended up like, I think you did too, like looking up Phil Cuzzy's Wikipedia, and like he has an interesting story. Like, he was out of baseball, out of umpiring for a little bit because he couldn't get a full-time position, and then he came back like 7 years later or something.
Yeah, man.
And but during that time he like worked as a bartender and like maybe something else.
Substitute teacher, I think.
Substitute teacher. Yep. Oh, that's right. He was at the mercy of the district. But honestly, okay, that's a cable guy reference, like the guy, not the movie.
Yeah.
And like, as much as Cable Guy sucks, that is a pretty good line.
It is.
But I don't think he means it to be as funny as it is, or in the way that it is.
No,
like,
and Jeremy, like you said, it's a zero-sum statement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, the Phil Cuzzy thing was really cool, and like, I suppose if we would have asked him and he would have said that, we would have freaked out. We would have like geeked out even more about it.
Yes.
I think, because like, it is cool. And so in retrospect, I'm super glad we got him and we asked him for it. Especially like, we could have asked for him like last year and it wouldn't have been the same thing. So it just all really worked out in a really cool way.
It did.
So like, again, you have call us nerds or geeks or whatever, but like, that's one of the cooler things I think about like graphing. Like, we got him, and like, he might retire after this season or whatever. Maybe he was holding out just to be to get that record. So yeah, it was very cool. It was very cool to get him.
Hell yeah. And so the umps are usually out pretty late, so there wasn't too many other people to wait for. Like I mentioned, I re-upped on a lot of the coaches, but one guy I had never gotten was Jim Hickey. I got him on a scorecard, but I never got him on a card because he only has minor league cards, and sometimes those are a little more expensive. So like a Jim Hickey card is probably $3 or $4 on eBay, maybe even $5. But whatever, I splurged because he's a guy I want to get, and the Nats, they may turn over their staff this year, so he might not be working anywhere next year, even though I think he's pretty highly thought of. So Hickey comes out, and we called for him. I think I called for him and I said, "You got time?" And he goes, "I got nothing but time." And so then he comes over to us and he signs. And Jeremy, he made a comment on your card.
Yeah. So I have this minor league card. It's from 1991. And these cards are just ghastly looking, but this is the same kind of card I got. Phil Wellman, that manager who went like kind of crazy and did like the whole like bomb throwing of the rosin bag. It's a Pro Cards minor league card from 1991, and it's a funny picture of him. He's wearing an Astros uniform, and this one actually says pitching coach, Burlington Astros, 1991. You got him on a card. It
was 1980, Jeremy.
Yeah. I mean, last year I got him on a card from, I think, 1985.
Yeah. You know what? The Kranitz one might have been 80. I think Hickey's was maybe 89 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And so, so he comes over, like he signs for you, and then he signs mine, and he goes like, "Oh, that's the first one right there," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, cool," or something, and like. I'm like, I saw your card earlier in the day, like during the game, so I was like, I know his card is older than mine.
Yep.
But then I realized, like, mine is a pitching coach card. So I guess this was like, oh yeah, it actually says on the back here, Hickey is in his first season as pitching coach for the Burlington Astros in 1991. So there you go.
Okay.
Jim and his wife Jennifer make their home in St. Cloud, Florida. I wonder if that's still true. But he's from Chicago, this Jim Hickey, so that kind of makes sense, I guess, of the time is about what's going to happen next. But so that was interesting. So that was maybe another one of those instances where it's like the guy knows more than we do, or thinks we know more than we do.
Jeremy, it's hard to not have an awkward interaction with somebody when you're graphing, when you're saying anything more than thanks. Like the Robert Hassel one, that's like the exception to the rule. Like that was a good interaction, but it's like, you have 5 of those, 4 of them are going to be kind of weird.
And the coaches too, I think, because honestly, I feel like we catch the coaches off guard a lot of times when we ask them for autographs.
Yep.
Because they're not expecting it, and then like some of them even say like, "Who, me? Like, you want me? Like, why do you want me?" But Hickey he's also an interesting guy. He seems kind of an interesting like guy, weird maybe even. But he signed it and it was cool, and he was like the last guy out, I think. Like him and some other coaches came out together maybe, and we called Hickey, and so he was signing for us, and he was kind of like taking his time, like just he was remarking on the card and stuff. And so I hear from behind him, I hear some guy go like, "Hey, come on, man, you're holding up the bus." And like it was, I think, this traveling secretary guy, and he was kind of being tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but like I think he was also trying to like, he was giving Hickey crap, but he was like slightly tongue-in-cheek about it. And then Hickey kind of gives like a half turn, and he goes like, "I'm not taking the bus." And the guy goes, "Oh, okay." And then he gets on the bus, and they close up, and then they drive off. But
it was crazy,
funny.
man. He completely big timed that guy.
Yeah.
And then we were like, what the fuck is going on here? And then he ended up going to Murphy's.
Well, yeah, we kind of like, so yeah, it was the last bus ended, and we were kind of like, okay, that's it, good. That was interesting interaction. The Cuzzy thing was weird. We kind of got our stuff together. We started walking down the block, and then like, we kind of forgot that Jim Hickey walked away, and like, he was kind of like nosing around Murphy's as if he was going to go in there.
Yeah, it was interesting. That was kind of the last thing we saw. And then the day ended.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, like, yeah, maybe they are going to turn their coaching staff over. So maybe this might be the last time we get some of these guys, but like, you can almost set your clock to the Nats coaches signing, which is a good thing, but also like, you're always trying to change it up. But yeah, it was, they never disappoint, I guess.
No, it was an okay day. Not super good graphing, but a fun game nonetheless. Even though we were in a bad section, and we got a lot more coming for you next week. And these Rays games, I guess no spoilers, but they're kind of crazy.
Yeah, they were fruitful.
Yeah.
So we'll bring that to you for next episode. At least next episode, we might have too much for one, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah, hell yeah. But for this week, I am Jack Swakowski,
And I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
and we'll see you next time.
Later.